welcome back to my channel. Hi, how is everybody doing? I know it's been so long since I came back and gave you guys a video. I've just been so busy, so I know you guys are so excited to see what information we're going to go ahead and talk about today. As you guys have saw on the title, we're going to be discussing how to stage the top 4 heavy hitter rooms. All right. You know, for every home, there's always the number one places that everybody who are potential buyers usually always gravitate towards to make them really just decide if this is going to be home. So we're going to go ahead and tap into that and decide and discuss what exactly you should do for each one of those top rooms. Okay, let's go ahead into it. All right. So what are those 4 rooms? As you guys clearly can see on the screen in front of you, we are going to talk about the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, and the master bedroom. Okay, you guys, those are the 4 key rooms whenever you're going ahead and you're staging that a lot of people usually gravitate towards to really decide on if that's going to be home or if it's not going to be home. All right. What's the meaning of staging, right? So a lot of you guys should know this, especially if you are home stagers, exactly what the meaning of staging is. And if you're not a home stager, then at least this information will tell you exactly what you need to be staging towards. So to give the potential buyer the visualization of living within the home for themselves. That's the biggest point of staging. We're not staging to give me an idea of like what's cute. No, we're staging to make the potential buyers literally envision being home when they step into that house. So that is the whole point of staging. Being able to give you ideas on furniture placement, color, color chemistry, and feeling like this is home. That is the key things that we're working towards here, okay? So, key things, right? Make sure everything is clean. You always want to go ahead and remove any clutter or any old items that might just be inside a home or in the space. You don't really want to go ahead and have that house be really just overwhelming with things because then it takes away from the actual home. And what we're trying to do is bring back the home, right? Again, remove the previous personality from the space. You don't want to go ahead and stage the home geared towards you, the existing homeowner. You want to stage the home geared towards the potential buyer. So remove the previous personality from the space and bring back the home's personality, right? Through the art of staging. So you want to go ahead and focus on those key things that make the home basically stand out while it's on that housing block. You want to bring that personality back into the space as best as possible so that it appeals to the new home owners. So first things first, we're going to talk about the kitchen. So there should be a few items, right, on the kitchen countertops, such as coffee makers, toasters, spice racks, and knife holders. Okay, you don't want to go ahead and put too much kitchen items and appliances on the kitchen space. You want to have it as open as possible. That way, the potential home buyers can basically get an idea of how much counter space that they have. The biggest key thing with kitchens that appeal to potential buyers is how much cooking space that they can work with when they're catering to their families and or catering to guests. So you want to go ahead and show that off as much as possible, as best as possible as you possibly can. Add a bowl of fruit, right? Does it really does do some justice in the right places, and consider one color of fruit when using this decor tip. So don't add multiple different kind of color of fruits in one space. It kind of just looks like a lot of things clashing all at once. I know we usually have seen with our grandmothers or grandfathers' houses where we see the bowl of assorted fruits. If you notice, whenever you look at that bowl, it just kind of blends in with the space because it's so much like different colors fruits going on compared to when you see one colored fruit in the space and in that bowl. It makes the whole thing look more harmony and pretty much flows together, right? You want something that kind of works with each other and not against each other. So that's something to keep in mind. And get rid of dish rags, okay? Put any soap, rags, scrub pads, etc. away. You want to go ahead and get rid of the dish rack that you usually put all your dishes in. I would say go ahead and clean those out and store them properly away in an organized space somewhere. You don't want to go ahead and show that you're washing dishes and that obviously you're still utilizing the space. If you are an occupied homeowner and you are staging for occupied stagings and you're about to do an open house, I would always suggest my homeowners to go ahead and just clean their dishes and store them away. Really much, pretty much pack them away. You just want to keep a certain amount of dishes geared towards how many actual family members are living in the house, and everything else is put away. You don't want to go ahead and have your dish rack up there showcasing that you still live there. Nobody wants to feel like they're walking into an already lived home. They want to walk into their potential home for them. Some staging advice to continue. If it's an older kitchen with ample floor space and no island, consider creating an island with the right table or even a trolley with the butcher block. You never know. These come in really good handy, and it shows the diversity within the space too when you create your own. It gives somebody an idea for themselves when they go ahead and live within the space to go ahead and be able to have that flexibility, especially with a cooking block, a butcher block within the space that they can move around and be able to handle their cooking needs basically at any point within the kitchen. So that's also something to keep mindful of. An enclosed L-shaped kitchen usually has room to add a table and chairs. So consider a round table with seats of four in this situation to maximize the space. Uh, I would always say try to find a decent size round table, right? You don't want something too massive and you don't want something too small. You want something just right, like in the middle, that can basically satisfy anybody who's walking within that space and still be able to have walking space to flow within the kitchen and out of the kitchen. Um, Usually with L-shaped kitchens, round tables tend to work a whole lot better than square ones. So I would always opt in trying to find one to satisfy in my spaces, especially for my potential buyers to get that feel and visualization within the space that they also can have that eat-in kitchen with utilizing a round table. Dining rooms. So, depending on the size of the room, right, you may want to take away a table leaf or subtract some chairs. It really just depends on the actual space itself. You just have to kind of like measure it out as best you can and kind of stick to that measurement and stick to making sure that the flow and circulation of the room is satisfiable through any moment. A flower arrangement, in the center of the dining table is usually always a good and necessary staging tip. It adds a really nice touch to the room. It could be tall, it could be small. I would say if you have a small one, kind of jazz it up with different height, other decor, tabletop, or ornaments or accessories. That way, you kind of give your dining table some depth and it really showcases very, very well. So always look into doing something like that. But floral, greenery, plants are usually your way to go. If there is a chandelier and it hangs a little low, appears to dominate the room, simply remove about 4 to 6 links from the hanging chain and it could really make a big difference. I've been in a couple different homes where I've seen low, heavy hanging chandeliers before in dining spaces, I would always, and I do mean always, suggest taking away some links. You, especially if you have somebody that is tall or short or what so have you, when you walk into the space, depending on the length and depending on the height of it, it could really mess with somebody's brain mentally. So for me being somebody that's short, I feel like I'm on top of the world when I see a low hanging chandelier. And especially if it's really, really low, like I want to say like maybe like 2 feet, maybe even a foot above the dining table, that right there should tell you no, no. That right there should tell you to go ahead and take some chain links out and make this feel just a little bit more better and more standard to really feel like a dining room. So always look into that. More advice, right? A round table fits nicely in a square shaped dining room. For dining rooms, you can best seat minimum to 4 to 8, depending on the size of the table. I don't know where that 6 came from. Depending on the size of the table in the room. Um, like I said, round tables are more than likely kind of be your best friend. If it comes into needing to figure out a more feasible circulation, like flow of traffic circulation within a room, round tables tend to do you a lot of justice because they are space savers. When you have rectangular tables, they kind of just take up space due to its corners and points. So opting for round is way more easier to handle than anything else. And if you have too many seats, simply remove some of the chairs and accent them with a sideboard um, with some nice tabletop decor up in a corner or up against a certain point of the wall somewhere. That tends to be a nice little saver and it's a really nice staging decor accent. So always look to opt for that. Again, if the chairs cannot fit within the space, right? And you only do this if you have the right dining room space, then just take the chairs out completely. If it doesn't work spatial wise, remove the chairs completely out the room. Don't put them up against the sideboard. Even if you can't get one in there, don't try to force it, but let it just come naturally. If the space is big enough, go for it. If it's small, don't try to go ahead and add too many furniture pieces because then you'll end up cluttering the space and making it feel even smaller. And we don't like to feel claustrophobic in rooms, right? Sideboards should have a minimum item in the surface top. So a pair of cocktails and a decorative plater or a tray tends to work very, very nicely on these nice little sideboards or credenzas. So always look into that and dressing up just a little, sweet. You don't need to put a lot of things on the sideboard because it's just the purpose of that. It's just supposed to be an accent. So I would say always kind of opt for about 3 to 4 tabletop items. Living room. So typically, the fireplace, right, becomes the focal point, or possibly a sofa with a coffee table and a vase of flowers. So that's always key to keep note of. Usually within the living room, the fireplace is the focal point. If you have one, plan to stage to make that be the number one thing that the eyes gravitate towards, right? You want to showcase the best use of this fireplace as best as possible. So stage accordingly. Don't try to cover up the fireplace with the furniture or the sofa, but kind of just, make sure that the view to the fireplace is seen, clear, noticeable as best as possible. If there's a bookcase, break up long rows of books by replacing some books on their sides and adding a few decorative items. That's always key and a nice little note to do. I know a lot of us usually have a lot of books. take a lot of those books off. You're staging now. You're staging for open houses and a showcase. So you don't need to keep a lot of those books on a bookshelf. Remove some, pack them up, place them in your storage, and get some nice decorated pieces and store them up on the bookshelf. Kind of have them act as bookends for some books or what so have you. So jazz it up as best you can, and it will look really nice in the end product. Plants can make a room. Like I said earlier, plants, plants, plants. Plants are everything. So your main goal is to go ahead and have nice amount of plants in different sizes if you can to accentuate that space. Take a moment to determine where they are needing to be adding to. You know, you can probably have a plant over there in the living room space corner by the fireplace, behind some of the accent chairs, or maybe by the sofa, or even maybe on the tabletops. Who knows? But really analyze the space properly so you can really determine exactly where to make those plants be located and how to really accentuate that space. If you have a large room, right, split the seating up on opposite walls with comfortable chairs on either side of the fireplace, if applicable, and the sofa across from the fireplace. So, again, if you don't have a fireplace, then that's fine. Work with trying to make this space be more geared towards communication, more so than fireplace, right? The communication space, making it be more focused on facing each other and then having that art piece be the statement piece and then the room. That's your opposite from making the fireplace be your focal point. But if you do have a fireplace, anchor two accent chairs, one, two, basically in front of the fireplace or across from the fireplace, and then have the sofa be on the opposite end of those accent chairs to really grasp that view of that fireplace as best as possible. For small spaces, consider glass top tables. This is very, very true because when that light goes head inside that space, at least with a glass top table, it gives off the illusion like a mirror effect and making it feel like you have more space and more room. Versus having a more solid table, it basically will be a mass within a space and it just takes up space. At least with the glass, it makes your eyes go through it. So then you're feeling like you're seeing more of the space and it feels more open than closed in. For storage, you can put magazines and other items in a basket. I would always suggest this if you can. Even if you have like a very solid kind of bookshelf or even a small set of shelving within a living room space, get some baskets, put them in those cubby holes, and store your magazines and small certain items like the actual remote controls, certain kind of loose end wirings, pens, whatever is really like loose around the house. Store them in there, and it leads to a very clean, organized space. And one less thing that potential home buyers have to really like acknowledge when they're looking inside the space. It doesn't distract you from anything within the space, so I always suggest in doing that first. Master bedrooms, right? Ensure the largest room serves as the master bedroom. If all the rooms in a home are same size or smaller, be crafty in using smaller furniture and item counts to give visual representation of identifying a master bedroom. So, what that basically means is if you have a small bedroom, right, or say that all the bedrooms are basically the same size, go for more smaller beds, like a queen size bed versus a king, or a full size bed versus a queen. In a smaller space, I will opt for a full size bed instead. If you can't be able to fit a queen size bed, and add a accent chair, right? Add a little reading nook in there, as well as the nightstands. Make it feel like it's a master bedroom. And you can do that by just the furniture count that you add in that space. So, adding more furniture into certain kind of rooms and taking away furniture from certain kind of rooms can kind of give you an idea of, okay, this has this over here, the reading nook, the bed, nightstands, okay, the big art statement piece, okay, the dresser. All right, this is showing me that this is the master bedroom. The other spaces just have a bed and nightstand. This is showing me that these are the other second and third bedrooms. It's all about the freaking play, right? You want to go ahead and make sure that you understand and really analyze the space to know exactly how you're going to play around with how many items go in the space and the size of the furniture within the space. The bed is the focal point blank, period. Unless you have other unique architectural features, the bed is the focal point. So dress it up with an attractive duvet, shams, and decorated pillows. And this is so true. We all have our bedrooms at home, and we all take pride in decorating our bed as best as possible because our bed is our focal point. Our bed is our statement piece within the space. So always look to doing that whether you're staging any kind of room, okay? If it's a large space, you can create a separate seating area near a window or a fireplace. Again, if you have the space to do it, create that reading nook, add a fireplace in there. Really give this master bedroom some oomph. You want to go ahead and appeal to the potential buyer and making them know how they can utilize as much as this space, but as well making them feel like they're home versus making them feel like they're not home, or they have to think about what to bring into the space, or they have to do so much more mental work. And that's just something you don't want to have them do. So always try to make this cohesive, harmonious, moody space as best as you can. Nightstands, right, should always be the same height and be complementary to each other and the bed frame. Um, if you're going to go ahead and put nightstands, right, you want to make sure that they're either the same or they complement each other as best as possible and the bed frames as best as possible. You don't want to go ahead and have mixed match nightstands to the bed frame and everything just looks like you kind of pulled things from other different places, and it's not giving an eclectic style of decorating at all. It's just looking like a mess. So always keep that in mind to be as harmonious as possible. Always place art. Consider placing the right scaled art piece above the bed. All right. If the headboard is short, if it's a tall headboard, place art above the nightstands to complement the height of the headboard. Right. If the headboard's short, put a nice statement art piece above it. If it's a tall headboard, consider placing the art pieces over the nightstands. There's so many different kind of ways to jazz those walls up. That's basically along the headboard and bed side of the wall. So always focus your money on how to get the view from the bed up to the wall, right? There should be a dresser. Didn't think about that, did you? With a mirror and a highboy chest. And that's an and or highboy chest, depending on the room size. Every bedroom should have a dresser. Now, unless it is a very like faint guest bedroom, then you can pretty much pass without it, or office room, then you can pass without it. But for the most part, you want to go ahead and have that dresser because the dressers are the key thing that goes into everybody's bedroom. And it's the biggest thing besides the bed that takes up the most space. So, always adding the dresser to give the potential buyer a visualization of basically how much space they're working with is always key. And you want to map it out as best as possible so that it actually makes sense and it actually appeals to the people that are coming to view the home. And it doesn't look out of place. So you want to make sure that it fits within the space, is positioned just right, and appeals to the potential home buyer. And that, oh, you guys, is all I have for the day. I just want to tell you guys thank you so much for allowing me to bring you guys another video. And thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy to share this with you guys. Also, please, as you guys see on the screen, visit and subscribe to my social media links. I don't know why I said subscribe. I mean, like. Go ahead and like my Facebook page and go ahead and like my Instagram. Follow me on both. Okay, I love to follow back others, and I love to see what work you guys have also done. You can also contact me on those pages as well and saying hi or just asking me a question. Either way, I'll try to get back to you as best as I can at the earliest of my capability. And that's basically all I have today. If you guys have any questions, you can easily visit my website at www.binkiesinteriors.com. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Also, turn on your notification bell. That way you guys can always stay notified whenever I drop a new video, as well as thumbs upping this video and all the other videos that I've done so far. Thumbs up everything, and then share with a friend, share with a family member, share with a business associate that you know. Share these videos with others and tell them to subscribe and put their notification bell on and thumbs up the videos too. Okay, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye.